Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Today's lesson is lesson 4-6, introducing partial product multiplication. So, when we talk about partial product multiplication, it's very similar to lesson 4-3 when we partitioned a rectangle or partitioned rectangles, right? We're taking a larger multiplication problem and we are making them smaller. So, I'm going to pose a question to you. Can you solve this multiplication problem quickly? And I mean like within 30 seconds. Can you figure it out? Within a minute. Okay. 660 times 5. Mentally in your head or even writing it on a piece of paper. If we're able to do that, great. Keep with this method. But I'm going to show you a method today that it's going to make it easier and it's going to make it quicker for you to solve multi-digit multiplication problems, okay, using partial products. So you might be asking yourself, what is a partial product? Well, a partial product, they are answers to a multiple multiplication problems that have been broken into smaller pieces, but they need to be added back together at the end to find the total product of your original problem. So if I were to take 660 and break that apart, find my answers, I have to bring those answers back together in order to find out what the product of 660 times 5 is. Okay, so two ways that we can do this is partitioning a rectangle, which we did in lesson 4-3, or finding partial products of multiplication, which is in this lesson today. All right, so let's look at some examples from your book before we actually go into the math. So in this problem right here, might be kind of hard to see, but that's okay. Helen wants to paint the sidewalk for her block party. She needs to know the area of the sidewalk so she knows how much paint to buy. The sidewalk is 5 feet long by 660 feet long, or wide, I'm sorry, 5 feet wide and 660 feet long. What is the area of Helen's sidewalk? Okay, so I need to figure that out, okay, in square feet. But number one says, draw a picture to represent Helen's sidewalk, okay? So I'm going to draw a shape. All right, there's her sidewalk. But really, I need to come in here and I need to get my text, Arial. It's a 5 by what? 660. Select go. So it's a 5 by 660 feet sidewalk. All right. Now, I've drawn my picture. I've labeled my width and my length. Okay. But they still want me to figure out what it is. So I could do the math. If I do the math, 660 times 5 do my line underneath, text tool, put right here. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6, that's 30. So I put a 0 down here. Actually, you know what? We're going to use the pen tool. Let's use that pen tool. That's going to make it so much easier. So 5 times 0, that's 0. 5 times 6, okay, as I move over, 0, okay, so that's 0 here, 3 at the top. 5 times 6 again is 30, okay, plus 3 more, okay, so 0, 0, and then I need 0, oh, sorry. All of these little zeros are tripping me up. Pen tool. So that's 33. Okay, so when I add that together, I have 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, and then 3 plus 0, 3 plus 0, again, 1, 2, 3, put my comma. So my answer is 3,300 square feet. Okay, so I put my answer up here, 3,300 square feet up there. Show how you figured out the area. So this is what I did right here. So I could just bring all my work, put it right here, and I'm done with that problem. Okay, now let me show you another way of how we could go about doing that. So when we partitioned a rectangle, okay, so what we just did was standard multiplication. So that was just straightforward multiplication with multi-digits. Now I'm going to show you partitioning a rectangle, which we did in lesson 4-3, and partial products multiplication. So in partitioning a rectangle, we break apart our rectangle into 5, 660. Okay, I'm going to take 660, since it is my bigger number, and break it apart into easier manageable numbers. So what I did was I kind of found the expanded form of 660 and wrote it up here. So I have 660. So now what I have to do is I have to multiply 5 times 600 in this spot, which equals 3,000. Then I have to multiply 5 by 60 in this spot, which is 300. Once I've done that, these right here are my partial products. Okay, they're partial products because they're answers to multiplication problems, but it's partial my answer. Okay, it's a partial answer, not the whole answer. So what I have to do is add my 3,000 plus my 300 to get my answer of 3,300. That's partitioning a rectangle. Now, if I try to do partial products multiplication, I don't use rectangles at all. I show the math as is. It's very similar to the math that we do for partitioning rectangle. We don't, however, use those rectangles. So I have my same problem, 660 times 5, but I do 600 times 5 plus 60 times 5. Very similar to what I did over here, but again, I don't use my rectangles. So I have to figure out the math for 600 times 5 and 60 times 5. Well, if you remember back in 4-1, we used extending multiplication facts, okay? So all it is 6 times 5 for both of these, but add your extra zeros. So in this case, we have 600 times 5, which is 3,000, because 6 times 5 is 30, and then we have 2 more zeros, so we add 2 more to the back. Then we have 60 times 5. Well, 6 times 5 is 30. I have 1 more zero, so I put that to the back. 3,000 plus 300 equals 3,300. That's partial products multiplication. They look very similar. However, partitioning a rectangle actually draws out my boxes, my rectangles, and placing everything in a box and then adding up my partial products. Partial product multiplication doesn't use the rectangles, but it uses the same math. All right? It just won't organize everything neatly like it would in the partitioning a rectangle. Okay? So, with this, for number 3, you need to read the problem, okay? And then you need to be able to do a partition rectangle one, which is this section, to break them up. And then you need to do a partial products multiplication, which is this one right here, okay? Same problem, you're just doing it a little bit different. You're doing 2 methods, okay? All right. So the next page in your workbook, I believe this is page 120. This is page 120. 120 and 121 are very similar to each other, where you have to find the partition rectangle, do the math for that, and the partial products multiplication, okay, and do the math for that one, okay. You got to practice this, okay. If you don't practice this, you're not going to get any better at knowing how to actually place everything either in the rectangles or how to do the math, okay. With partial products multiplication, all you're doing is finding that expansion, okay? You're expanding your numbers, so that you're able to multiply them easier. Then on page 122, you have conversion charts. So we have to know what our formulas are for our conversion charts. So the first one is meters and centimeters. Well, I know that in 1 meter, there are 100 centimeters. 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So I need to answer that. So if I have 4 meters, that's what? 400 centimeters. Okay? Because 400 times 4, or 100 times 4 equals 400. Okay? So you're going to do that for number 1. Number 2, millimeters to centimeters. I know that there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. So this would be 20. Okay? So if I have 2 centimeters, 2 times 10 equals 20. Then yards to feet. I know that in 1 yard, there are 3 feet. So if I have 3 yards, 3 times 3 is 9. So that's going to be a 9. Finally, minutes to hours. I know that there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. So if I have 4 hours, 4 times 60 equals 240. Okay. And then 5, 6, and 7, again, it's just conversions. So you're going to have to use the conversion chart that we have over here to answer these problems. Use all the room that you need in order to answer that. And finally, on page 123 is your math boxes. Okay. There's a lot to compact in this lesson. Okay. But the majority of the lesson is going to be on those partitioning, finding those partial products. Okay. So if you need any more help, just look to your teacher, ask for your teacher to help you. And if you need anything else, let us know. All right. Bye.